Breaking news. Nigel Farage has just launched the most searing attack on Keir Starmer's immigration strategy in modern British history. What followed turned central London into an utter battlefield. At 3:47 p.m. yesterday, emergency services received over 200 calls from Whitehall alone. Police helicopters hovered over Westminster for 3 straight hours. And the footage emerging now is something Britain hasn't witnessed since the poll tax riots of 1990. If you want the full picture of what's happening to our country, hit that subscribe button now. What I'm about to reveal will shock you to your core. Here's what triggered this constitutional crisis. 5 days ago, Starmer addressed Parliament and unveiled his new immigration plan. His words sent chills down the nation's spine. Britain is set to accept 180,000 asylum seekers over the next 18 months, prioritizing those arriving via channel crossings. This policy effectively rewards illegal entry over legal immigration. Veteran groups called it a betrayal. Working families labeled it insanity. But Nigel Farage refused to stay silent. Instead of the usual parliamentary grandstanding, he acted decisively. He organized a public rally outside Parliament at noon yesterday, pledging to bring 10,000 patriots demanding answers. At exactly 11:58 a.m., Farage took the stage. The crowd stretched from Parliament Square all the way to Westminster Bridge, over 12,000 people, according to police estimates. His words were chilling. For decades, politicians promised to control our borders. They lied. They pledged to put British families first. They lied. Now, Keir Starmer stands in that building behind me and says we must welcome nearly 200,000 migrants while British veterans sleep on the streets and pensioners are forced to choose between heating and eating. The crowd's roar was deafening. Within minutes, social media exploded. Twitter trended #StopTheInvasion at #1 globally. Facebook live streams reached 4.3 million viewers in the first hour. TikTok clips of Farage's speech hit 8 million views by early evening. The response was immediate and fierce. Within 30 minutes, counter-protesters flooded in from across London. Labour activists, open border advocates, and university students holding signs reading "Refugees Welcome" and "Farage is a fascist." By 1:15 p.m., police had lost control of the situation. Meanwhile, British veterans, men and women who served with honour, are treated like second-class citizens in their own nation. Robert Henderson, a 71-year-old Falklands veteran from Portsmouth, was denied council housing after waiting 4 years. Speaking to ITV News, he said, "I fought for this country. I bled for this flag. Now I'm told there's no room for me because we need to house migrants who arrived last week." Robert now sleeps in his car outside Tesco in Southampton, showering at a local gym when he can afford a day pass. His daily routine is heartbreaking. He wakes at 6 a.m., heads to a McDonald's parking lot for free Wi-Fi, and spends his mornings applying for jobs that never respond. At 73, with a service-related back injury, no one hires him. His £140 weekly pension barely covers food, phone bills, and fuel. Last Tuesday, he told a local reporter he survived 2 days on nothing but canned soup and bread, forced to choose between food and petrol to attend job interviews. This is how Britain treats its heroes. Meanwhile, illegal migrants who crossed the Channel yesterday are lodged in 4-star hotels in Manchester, Birmingham, and Leeds with heated rooms, 3 meals a day, full NHS access, and legal representation, all funded by taxpayers. The Home Office spent £8 million last week alone on hotel accommodations for new arrivals, enough to house every homeless veteran in Britain 3 times over, and it gets worse. Freedom of Information documents reveal migrants in government housing receive £47 per day in support, more than triple what British pensioners get. They also receive interpreters, legal advisors, health coordinators, and employment counsellors, all taxpayer-funded. Meanwhile, pensioners like 74-year-old Dorothy Williams from Blackpool ration medication because she can't afford both prescriptions and heating. Dorothy told Channel 4 she takes her blood pressure tablets every other day as her pension leaves just £92 a week after rent. She hasn't turned on her heating since October, despite freezing temperatures. When asked why she doesn't apply for extra help, she said, "I worked 52 years, paid taxes, raised 3 children, and never asked for help. Now I'm supposed to beg, while newcomers are given everything." The contrast is so stark that even lifelong Labour voters are turning on Starmer. Mary Thompson, a 68-year-old retired nurse from Liverpool, recorded a tearful video that went viral. "I can't do this anymore. I can't support a party that prioritizes foreigners over my grandchildren." The video hit 3.7 million views in 18 hours. Then something unprecedented occurred. King Charles broke 70 years of royal protocol. At 2:30 p.m., during a routine visit to a Surrey veterans' home, he made off-script remarks that shook Westminster. Standing beside decorated war heroes, many in wheelchairs, the king declared, "These men and women gave everything for this nation. They deserve better than what they're receiving, far better." The implication was clear. The king publicly criticized government policy. Palace insiders revealed advisors were horrified, scrambling to contain the situation, but Charles refused to back down. One aide told the Telegraph, "His Majesty was moved. He heard their stories, and something inside him snapped. He wouldn't remain silent." The optics are devastating for Starmer. When the monarch sides publicly with veterans over immigration policy, it's more than a political argument. It's a loss of moral authority. Within 2 hours, every major news outlet covered it. BBC led with "King Charles questions government care for veterans." Sky News repeated the footage for 3 hours. International media from CNN to ABC broadcast it worldwide. By 2 p.m., Metropolitan Police deployed riot units at Parliament Square. Mounted officers formed barriers between pro-Farage protesters and counter-protesters. Videos show officers struggling to maintain order. Violence erupted near Westminster Bridge at 2:47 p.m. Bottles thrown, barriers smashed, and 12 officers seriously injured, including James Morrison, 34, who suffered a fractured skull. 3 police horses were hurt, one named Sterling requiring evacuation. The London Ambulance Service declared a major incident at 3:15 p.m., calling in off-duty paramedics. Hospitals were overwhelmed with injured officers, protesters, journalists, and bystanders. The London Stock Exchange reacted sharply. The FTSE 100 dropped 127 points in a single session. Sterling fell to its lowest point against the dollar since the Liz Truss crisis. Investment banks issued warnings. Goldman Sachs downgraded Britain's outlook. JP Morgan advised reduced exposure. Global investors moved assets to Frankfurt and Dublin. London riots trended in 47 countries. Al Jazeera, France 24, and US cable news compared it to January 6th. YouGov polls at 6 p.m. showed catastrophic numbers for Labour. Starmer's approval collapsed from 38% to 22% in 5 days. Among over 50s, his support fell to 16%. Reform UK surged to 31%, overtaking both Labour and Conservatives. Protests erupted in 17 cities simultaneously. Inside Downing Street, panic reigned. Cabinet ministers argued until 11 p.m. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper allegedly threw briefing papers, and Defense Secretary John Healey reportedly said, "We can't arrest half the country. This policy is political suicide." Deputy Leader Angela Rayner held private meetings to gauge support for a leadership challenge. Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves refused TV appearances. Veteran Labour MPs privately admitted they had never seen chaos like this. Diane Abbott told LBC, "The party is fracturing before our eyes." Leaked documents obtained by the Daily Telegraph reveal Starmer may have lied about the scale of immigration. Internal Home Office projections estimate 340,000 to 420,000 asylum seekers under his plan, far above the 180,000 he announced. This could constitute a resignation matter under the ministerial code. Cabinet members, aware of the figures, could face criminal charges. The government could collapse within weeks. Nigel Farage seized the moment. While Starmer hid, Farage appeared on GBN, BBC, Question Time, and Talk TV within 4 hours, delivering consistent, powerful, and devastating messages. Clips went viral. 15 million views across platforms by midnight. Reform UK membership applications crashed the website 3 times. Donations poured in at £4,000 per hour. 12 new constituency offices opened in Labour heartlands. For the first time, Reform UK is not just a protest vote. They are a serious threat to gain power. Polls confirm it. Conservatives 26%, Labour 23%, Reform UK 31%. Farage is now a front-runner. Starmer isn't just losing an argument, he's watching his government implode. The next 72 hours are critical. Emergency debates are scheduled. Labour backbenchers circulate resignation letters. The Home Office Inspector General investigates. Scotland Yard reviews potential criminal charges. And street protests are planned in 23 cities. International media now calls Britain ungovernable. The question is no longer whether Starmer survives, it's whether Labour survives. Whether Britain's immigration system can withstand this fury. At the centre of this constitutional earthquake stands Starmer, isolated, desperate, and increasingly finished. His cabinet is abandoning him. The king has humiliated him, and Nigel Farage is preparing the final blow.